We good? Right in the middle. Cuddy, how are you?
Mate, I'm unreal. Happy to be back in the old facility, hey?
What brings you back?
We got a little 2.5 week, 3-week break now, so in the off season. Come back home, see the friends, the family, and then we're right into it.
Mate, this is a story that I'm so interested to bring to people. There's a lot of stuff that I want to get into on what you're doing right now, but I want to take people back to the start, mate. So where was home? What did you grow up doing? What was family life like growing up?
Yeah, so home for me, I spent a few years in Fiji growing up, and then when schooling happened, I came over here, went to the same school from prep to year 12, an all-boys school at the Southport School down here on the Gold Coast. I've been a Goldie boy my whole life. I did multiple sport growing up. I got a younger sister, mum and dad, and yeah, I guess throughout the years we just kept dabbling in different sports. Then we went to athletics after school, so I did decathlons, got state champ in that for 2 years in a row. And then I think towards my second year going to nationals, I had to make the decision of, all right, do I keep pursuing this or do I try my luck at a new sport, which was AFL? And then with a good conversation with mum and dad, we thought it would be the best thing to do. We got nothing to lose, so gave that a whirl, and it all went pretty well. And I found myself here at the Gold Coast Suns and playing alongside you for a few games.
We'll go to the start of that. What was in Fiji, mate?
Fiji, so mum and so dad was working over there, and mum was over there as well. So mum's from Papua New Guinea, but we just living the best life over there, to be honest. Climbing coconut trees and swimming in the waters, being rocked to sleep on a hammock. Yeah, so that's a good little upbringing.
So good. And then athletics, right? So you were doing decathlon.
Yep.
What level did you get with that, was it?
So I got to nationals. So I won state 2 years in a row, got to nationals my first year, and then my second year is when I had to make that decision of, do I do it or do I play my first Suns Academy game? And we chose the AFL route.
Right. So how does that come about with the Suns Academy? So do you get poached to do that? Do they come out and see you doing athletics, or were you playing football locally? How does that process come about with the transition from athletics to AFL?
Yeah. So Fee McClarty is my cousin, and I know from a young age, her and my mum and my dad have always said for me to play AFL, and they just told me about the talent. I think it was a talent ID testing for the academy. They said, rock up, give it a go. You got nothing to lose. And so I went down there and did it right. And they said, come down and give it a go. But I remember I didn't reply to the coaches at the time. I said, I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to do it. To me, it was air ping pong. And I didn't hear anything about the sport. But again, we just thought, all right, let's give it a go, and really knuckled down on it and went to the academy. We played 4 games there. Then I went to the local club, played seniors at the Labrador Tigers, and at the end of that year, got picked up as a rookie.
And what were your initial thoughts of getting into the AFL system here at the Suns?
It was cool. It was a nice little eye-opener to what professional sport was like. Obviously, it's something I've always dreamed of doing. I didn't know what sport I was going to do, but playing sport for a living and providing for my family was always something I've always wanted to do. And I guess rolling in here, seeing the facility, it's probably one of the best facilities in the AFL, seeing what we had and how it always worked and how it was ran, it was unreal.
And so now, how long did you spend at the Suns? Was it 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
Was your first year the COVID year?
Yeah, first year was COVID year.
How'd you find that time here at the Suns? Obviously coming into a new environment, but then being shipped off all around the country.
Yeah, it was a cool little challenge. I guess everyone was going through their own battles and their own little problems at the time with COVID. I guess it was whoever could adapt the best to it, and I guess learning-wise, it was going to be a bit hard for someone who's never played the sport before. But we have a great group of guys that were there, and the players, the staff were all helpful and all about developing the game and building my abilities on it.
So 3 years at the Suns. How do you reflect on your time at the Suns now, having 2 years out it is?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I can take out of it. Obviously, it was a new thing for me, a new sport, that whole professional life. It was so different for me than working at sushi. I was working at Sushi Train my whole life. So going from a guy working at Sushi Train to a guy who's now being paid to be a professional athlete was a big change. And I think at the time, I know there was a lot of things I could have done better and built off and learnt off. And coming out of that, reflecting on it, I could see the things I could learn from, and there's a lot of errors I made and a lot of things I could have done a lot better. And so I've taken that into the NFL, and from there I've made it my goal to not make these same mistakes and learn from my past. I think that I've got another opportunity to be in another sporting environment, let alone the NFL, which is one of the best and top athletes in the world, is unbelievable. So it's tough to get in it. and I got to learn from these mistakes I made back here and build off that and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Can you touch on any of the things that you addressed in your time at the Suns that you might have seen as a mistake that you don't want to do again, or is there anything you would have changed in your time here?
Obviously being new to the sport, I had to watch a lot of film, and I was watching film, but I think when I was watching it, I didn't know what I was watching and looking for. I could have spoken up a lot more and been more consistent with a lot of things I was doing. I like to build habits and everything, but there'd be weeks I'd do it, some weeks I didn't, and it was reflective on the field. Some weeks would be really good, then the next weeks I'm thinking, why didn't I play well? What was going on? But afterwards, I was looking back, I could see where I was going wrong with all these things. So going over there, I had to take it all the way back to the first step. All right, find a routine. Once I get to that routine, what works, what doesn't. And with that, I needed to pick players at the club. I'll hang around them, see how they go about their day, see what works for them, why it works for them. And then how does that work with me? All right, he's doing this for his shoulder. I don't need to do that. What can I do? I had hip surgery in September. I can use that time to work on my hips. And that's something I didn't do here as much as what I'm doing over there. So when I'm watching film, I'm watching it so critically. I'm going home, I'm watching extra film on my own. The amount of study I'm doing on my own. I remember I finished here at the club. I'd go, sweet, I'm done. Jump on the game. I finished training at 6 p.m. in America. I go 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., go home, have dinner for an hour, and then I'll study from 7 p.m. to about 11 p.m. at night. Wake up at 5 and do it again for every day.
Well, I guess you got to do that right to keep up now, learning a new sport.
100%, but I feel like that is something I could have done here as well. I was new to the sport here, so that's a good learning lesson I took from over there, and I've made it my habit and added to my routine, and now it's just second nature to me. It's just what I do. It's part of who I am now.
Have you had time to also reflect on that being a huge part in your life, obviously with your dad getting ill, and a time like that, have you been able to, I guess, kind of find a bit of solace in it, that it was just a massive time in your life to go through this thing, change of new sport, stuff that's going on with your family as well?
Yeah, I guess it's never really easy when you lose a family member, especially at a young age. I was 21. My sister, 17 years old. She hadn't even graduated school, so I guess it's a real tough age where you've built that great relationship with your dad, and you're at that turning point in your life where all these milestones are starting to happen. My sister just graduating, like my 21st birthday, signed to the NFL. It's just all these little things, and I guess it matured me up really quickly. And in doing that, I've made so many mistakes, and as we do, it's life. You got to make mistakes, and you learn from your mistakes. And I'll admit I've made mistakes, and I kept saying, "Don't make the same mistake twice," but just kept making the same mistake, and unfortunately, it gets in the way of things, and it hurts people and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I reflect on these things. I've learned from these things, and it's all part of growing and maturing into where I am now. And I guess everything happens for a reason. I'm a big advocate for that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, why me? Like, why did I have to lose my dad when I was 21? And why are these people out here that they're drinking 24/7, they're smoking, they're doing drugs and everything? But you can't sit there and fault that, because it's going to hold you back. You just got to learn to adapt and overcome. And it's just brought mum and my sister closer, and I think we're a great little family, and I think we wouldn't change anything for the world right now.
For sure. We'll get into what you're doing right now, mate. So time comes to an end at the Suns. Is this what you're going through now on the NFL international player pathway? Is that something that you had kind of addressed coming towards the end of your time at the Suns, or was it like, righto, the Suns are now done, what's next? Was it your idea? Did someone say you should try this? Talk me through how all this comes about.
So I've heard about it before, but obviously being at the Suns, I'm signed as an AFL player. I've given up my all to whenever the end date is. And then that date came around my third year, got released, and it's when we just started to surface these things up a bit more where, all right, my manager and I, we just thought, what are we going to do moving forward? Do we want to keep pursuing AFL, or should we surface this IPP program up and give it a go? And there's no real pathway over here for NFL, and well, shit, there's an opportunity. I can't let this opportunity slip. Kind of like the AFL. So one door closes, another opens, and put all the eggs in that basket. And they flew over here. They worked me out for a bit, liked what they saw, and they flew me over to Tottenham in London. No, Tottenham in London. Tottenham over to, is it?
Tottenham's in London.
Is it?
Tottenham is in London. Yeah.
London. London.
Tottenham is in London, isn't it? Can we get to the bottom of this? Tottenham's in London. I think, yeah, like Tottenham is a place in London.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's up.
London's the capital of England, and then Tottenham's in London.
North London.
North London.
North
Okay,
London.
right. It's in North London. There we go.
All right, easy. Yeah, so yeah.
Minor detail. Anyway,
Yeah,
in Tottenham.
I got flown out to Tottenham, did a combine out there. My first real taste of what it was like to do an NFL combine. And out of about 60 of us in the world, they selected 13 at the time for my first year. They flew us to Florida. We stayed at just south of Tampa Bay, and we did an international program for 10 weeks with NFL coaches or past NFL coaches and alumni. And yeah, so that's all. It all happened so quickly, really. I think within 2 weeks of me being released from the Suns, I was on a plane onto my next journey, and it was definitely a tough one coming from a full season of AFL to roll into a full pre-season of NFL. But yeah, no, it was pretty quick.
That seems like crazy timing for one opportunity to close like that, and within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know how it's usually like, in 9 months, there's this program that's starting. But so straight, within a fortnight, bang, righto, you've nominated, you're off and gone.
Worked so well. The timing couldn't be any better. If we made that was the year in the VFL, we missed out in the finals. I think we lost to the Sharks in the semis. And if we went to the finals, I would have been on a plane that weekend, I reckon. If I didn't get, if I got released, I would have been on the plane that weekend, probably after the exit interviews.
And so we lost in the prelim, did we? So you still would have been able to go if we made the grand final?
Do you have a week off between the prelims to the finals?
No.
Okay, no, I would have had a week then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have still been able to get there. I was just thinking it would have been this crazy like, imagine if we made the grand final and you would have missed it and wouldn't have been able to go. And inevitably you probably still, unless you did something crazy in that grand final that got you another year. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of what ifs.
Exactly.
There's a lot of what ifs. And it goes back to the point I was saying before, everything happens for a reason, I guess. So I think, that was a pretty crazy time and how it all worked.
So then you're over there for the first time. They cut it from 60 to 13.
Yeah, 60 odd to 13.
What have they said that they've seen in you to be able to take you through on this 13? What were you showing? What sort of stuff did they get you doing?
So I think we all know with AFL, all we do is kick and we're catching the ball. We catch the ball out in front because you've got a defender that's trying to punch the ball. So with NFL, it's kind of the same thing when you're a receiver or a tight end. You want to catch the ball out in front, you want to attack the footy. They saw that attribute was a real good skill of mine, and they thought, all right, well, big body, he can be a defensive end or he can be a tight end. So they just thought we can build on this skill. I ran through the ball well. I caught the ball quite naturally, they were saying. Coming from an athletics background, my takeoff speed and my speed for a big man was recognisable. And yeah, we just kind of put those all together. A lot of things that needed to be worked on, but it was something they could work with, if that makes sense. They saw someone they could coach, who was coachable, and someone that was already had the frame and someone they can develop into an NFL player.
So at this stage, is it still a bit of fun, a pipe dream, or are you like, nah, this is, I can do this? And why did you think, why do you think you can do it? Why did you think you could do it at that stage as well? Because it's pretty ballsy to just go, nah, I'm in, I'm doing this, I'm off.
Yeah, so you're saying when I'm at the Jags or?
No, now through here in this process.
Oh, yeah.
At what stage was it like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to go and try out and it's a bit of fun to then switching and going, nah, this is it. I'm getting closer. This could actually be a thing.
Yeah, I think when I went over to London, Tottenham.
Same place.
Yeah, same thing. When I went over there, it was kind of surreal because it's all happening so quickly. I'm not really processing what's going on. I went over there, all these freak athletes. I remember I walked in and this guy walks past me. Big, dark fella, 6'9", 160 kilos. Shook his hand, said, "G'day, Pat Murtagh here." And he goes, "Cool, I'm a player." That was my nice little welcome to this new sport. And he was a big offensive tackle, and walking around you can see all these boys and men, I'd say, and it's just remarkable how skillful they are, and they all have their own little niche, which is why they're there. And I think at the time I was just kind of in awe, thinking, wow, this is sick. And I'm out here performing. I didn't think I was doing too well, but from these guys seeing me, they said, "This is unreal. You're doing really well." And it started to click. All right, I got selected to go to the international program, and when I was there on that program, that's when it was like, all right, we're on, we're going.
So through that whole process, talk me through what NFL Australia do and the international player pathway that you've gone through. What is that actual process? Where do people come from, and what opportunities do they give to aspiring NFL players out of Australia?
Yeah, I think it's good now that we've got the NFL Academy on the Gold Coast. There's one on the Gold Coast, and it's going to help build the game moving forward. And I guess that's going to be a good little pathway and breeding point for future players and trying to get into the NFL. The NFL Australia doing a great job with advocating that, even with the flag football as well. Just getting more people to just dabble in it and see what they think of it. And if they like flag football, all right, well, let's put a helmet on and see how you go with contact. So it's all about growing the game. It's a new sport to us over here. We're all about AFL and rugby and cricket and whatnot. So I think they've done a remarkable job with not only creating a pathway for athletes over here, but also advocating the sport and building on it. And it's only going to get better from here.
And the details of that arrangement and that contract, you are on the list but sit outside the 53-man roster?
Yeah, so my spot doesn't really count to their roster, but I'll be there for the whole year. But in saying that, I can still play on a Sunday. So I can sit there, not count towards a roster spot, and then all of a sudden I'm training well, I'm performing. All right, Pat, you're playing this weekend against the Chiefs. Let's go. I can play. So it's pretty cool how it all works, and it's nice. So the first year will be a guaranteed year, and it's all about speaking to the GM, and it's all about development and learning, and it's a trust game that I'm putting in the work and showing that I can learn and take these things and just being a sponge and just trying to be the best player I can be.
For sure. Have many players through this pathway gotten a start before? I think I've seen one or two. But
yeah, there's been a few actually going through. I think the biggest name would be Jordan Mahalata.
Yep.
Down from Sydney. He went through and now he's on some big coin. I reckon if we look it up, it's 60 plus million over a certain
Yeah,
amount of
he
years.
signed an absolute monster, didn't he?
Unreal, but he's a big man too. He's about 6'8" and just built like a brick house. Nicest man you'll meet too. But yeah, there's been some real good athletes coming through, and I think another big name is Lewis Rees-Zammit. That was in my year. Yeah, he's one of the best rugby union players in the world. He was in Wales and played in the World Cup and everything.
Is he at the Chiefs?
The Chiefs, yeah.
Running back?
Yeah,
Or
running back,
wide out?
receiver sort of
Yeah,
player.
yeah. I've seen that come through the channels. He looks quick.
Yeah, nifty, swift little man. Hard to hate him. He's got his little wide out teeth, his slick back hair. Yeah, he's a good player.
So through this first year and this process, so you've made the 13 roster. Like what goes on from there? So you've gone to Tottenham, London, and you've got through the 60 to 13.
Yeah.
What now? Do you go back to Australia? Do they get you back for another camp? How do you actually get picked? Are clubs talking to you? Are they talking to a manager? Like, how does this whole process then go to then actually get onto a roster in this first year?
So in that first year, we did a pro day at the University of South Florida, USF, and then with there, we invite scouts to come down and watch us. At this time, this was the last year of allocations, so we had 2 divisions, so it means 8 players were up for grabs. There's 13 of us, and if you do the maths, 5 are missing out, unfortunately.
Yeah, that maths.
Yeah, math and real
math
well.
checks out.
Yeah, been
Yep.
out for a while. So, and it's cutthroat there because as you're coming into the last few weeks, you're kind of looking around like, is he better than me? What do the coaches think of me? And things start to get a bit anxious and whatnot. But you do your pro day, and basically the leaders and the coaches of the IPP talk to the scouts of the teams that are available for allocations, and they just work out, all right, what are you looking for? What type of player? So there could be 8 teams and not one wants a tight end. Sucks for me. I'm a tight end and it means no one will want me. But it's just also about what teams need what are they looking for in a player? How well is he in the classroom? So they're taking notes about everything, how you do things, how you greet the janitor, how you're at the cafeteria, where do you sit in class, how do you sit, your body language, all these little details that you wouldn't think twice about. When you rock up the training, all right, it says be there 5 minutes early. Are you 5 minutes early or 15 minutes early? They're taking note when you go out in the field to train. Do you get out there half an hour early to do extras? Are you saying half an hour back to do more extras? They're taking notes on everything you do. How well even your notebooks. How well do you take notes? Are you taking notes? And that all gets fed to these coaches, and they go, all right. They evaluate it, and then at the end of that first year, they had a big Zoom call and just said, all right, we're going to allocate you. We're not going to allocate you. And then we just sat tight. And luckily for me, I was the last one to get told and said, we're going to allocate you. Sit tight. We'll tell you which team you're going to in a couple of days. And hopped in the Zoom call, and I remember the name come up, and it said Rob Lohman, and I remembered that name, that he was from the Detroit Lions. And yeah, big smile on my face when I realised I was going there.
Bang, there it is. So these little things that you're talking about, are these little intricate details that you touched on earlier that you've learnt from the Suns, or was that at that moment, now you know in hindsight through this whole process and you've learnt the second time around, or is that something that you picked up from the Suns to year one in this process?
A bit of both. Something I picked up from the Suns, the professionalism on and off the field, but also some things I learnt when I was there. Because when I got told these things, I was reflecting back on, well, shit, I actually wasn't doing this in the Suns. I could have been doing that. So it's a bit of realization of both. So it entwined really well.
And can you touch on what a tight end is for people at home that don't know?
A tight end, yeah, it's Taylor Swift's boyfriend. It's the easiest way to put it. Whatever he does is that's what I do. We're a big receiver that has to block as well. So you got all your speedy guys on the outside that catch the ball. We got to be fast enough to run routes, smooth run routes, but we also got to be big enough, like the O-lineman, to block the defense and protect the quarterback.
And through this process, there weren't as many skill position players or receivers, were there? A lot of the guys through this international pathway are linemen, bigger guys.
Big boys, yeah. I was one of the smallest in my first year. I think I was the smallest in my first year, and at that time I was sitting at 6'5", 113 kilos. I was the smallest in the camp.
So, okay, and then there's another one there. You've mentioned 6'5", 113. How has your body changed, and what have you needed to do to then be able to keep up in this sport? Because we're obviously a more aerobic sport here in the AFL. You need to be able to run a bit better. Don't need to be as powerful. Where are you at now? Like, what have you needed to do, and what does a workout look like to be able to do that?
Yeah, so I left, I think my last year at the Suns, I left at 102 to 104 kilos. And even still, that was heavy. I was eating a lot of food, so I weighed in heavy. 6'5", 104 kilos at AFL, and now currently 6'6", 120. 118 to 120.
And you've grown, what, 2 inches, was it?
Grown an inch, yeah. Grown an inch. My body fat stayed the same as well. I'm as powerful as anything, more explosive than anything. And it's crazy. It's just the whole dynamic of training has changed. A lot of we do some compound movements, build strength, but a lot of explosive work, a lot of single leg stuff. It's a cool little eye opener, to be honest. Even when we go out in the field and we're training, our warm ups are everything's just sharp. It's quick. It's no walking. You finish your rep, run back. You're in the gym. You do your bench press, all right, and then you got to do med ball slams. You got to jog there. You know, everything's. I guess that's our mindset as rookies because we're under the pump, but it's go over there.
Mate, and then you just touched on before, righto, year one, Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
How does that come about? You've obviously done all your screening. They've ticked it off. Righto, Detroit Lions are going to take you. When from that call, what's next? When are you off? That was obviously over Zoom.
Yeah, over Zoom call, and got the call. I had to keep it quiet for a couple of days too, so not many people knew that I'd known for a week or two. Then the news came out, and I think the news came out Thursday, 9:00 at night. Had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, off Monday. And I was on a plane onto Detroit. Flew there a few days early just to adjust the jet lag and whatnot. And then we got a tour of the facility on the first day, signed some waivers and did our medical exam. And through there, that's when a few things kind of didn't really go to plan, unfortunately. And I had to follow up with I said I had problems with my hips. They track everything from high school. Like, what, did you strain a hammy in high school? Sweet, write it down.
So you've already had your medicals, and I could imagine a strenuous process to be able to get there. You've already had your medicals in Australia through the program?
Yeah, so
prior?
We were fine. I just thought I had sore hips, tight hips, and that carried through from when I was here at the AFL. I played long-ass games here at the Suns, and we were fine. Then I went through a camp. I was fine there. And then, then I went to Detroit, and they just asked about all my injuries I had, and we listed the injuries, and they just follow up and go, all right, we're going to x-ray you. They looked back, and I said my ankle from the academy, my last game. I just did some ligaments in there. Had to get that x-rayed, had to get that MRI'd. My hips, same thing, x-rayed, MRI'd, and the x-ray came back, and they go, hang on, we're going to follow up with this. And at this point, everyone had finished their medicals, and they started going into their classroom and whatnot, but I couldn't go in because I hadn't signed. I was upstairs in the room doing some forms and everything, and remember a guy coming in and saying, hey, we'll come back to this. And I said, oh, can I finish it off now? And no, we'll come back. It's the last time I saw that room. Went downstairs and got my x-ray done. I waited for my results, and I wasn't allowed to stay around because I hadn't signed the contract. So technically I'm not allowed to be at the facility. Went home for the rest of the day. Came in, went to the hospital to get an ultrasound and an MRI. And when some results came back, and they said, all right, you've got this. You'll be in touch with the doctor. Doctor told me, all right, this is what's going to happen. The GM and the scout will call you. GM and scout called me and said, hey, it's probably not the news you wanted to hear, but due to these reasons and this going on with your hip, we are not going to follow through with the allocation process and sign you, unfortunately. There's nothing we can really do about it, but we're sorry to tell you the news. And I was just all excited about being in the NFL at this stage. And I said, that's all right. I'll see you tomorrow. And we hung up the phone, and I got a phone call from the team back home, and they said, hey, mate, I heard the news. It's so shit. Your flight's booked for tomorrow at this time. And then when that hit, I think it was just an eerie dead silence in my head, and everything just kind of came into realization. And that was, it was tough hearing it. But the worst thing was, I just told Mum the best news of my life a week ago. We could finally, after Dad passing, we can finally get our life back on track. We can finally give my mum the life she deserves, give her a better job, probably even retire at this stage. And I had a FaceTime after that and saying, hey, can you pick me up from the Gold Coast airport in 2 days' time?
Far out.
Just because of reason 1, 2, and 3. And I think that was the heartbreaking moment for me and for Mum. And that was a tough pill to swallow, for sure. But I think, again, it goes back to what we were saying. Everything happens for a reason. At this point, I didn't know what reason it was. I didn't really know what to do. I just came back, and I knew that I wanted to keep playing sport. So came back, landed, jet lag hit, woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and I went to gym. I said, all right, we're going to go back to this program. We're going to do it again.
Straight away, that was your mindset. Like, righto, get this right. At that stage with what you had, was it like surgery's the answer?
Needed surgery. Yeah,
right.
But what type of surgery that was needed was the next question we had to ask. It's very dependent. All right, if I get this surgery, will I be all right? Will I recover in time? Will this affect me? The biggest question was, will I get cleared medically? This guy had hip surgery in September, and now he's back in this program. Is he fit enough? Is he healthy enough? Is he going to pass these tests? That was the scariest thing for, I think, all of us moving forward. And there was a lot of behind the scenes work about getting me sorted, getting me right, following up. And I think we were confident enough to know that, all right, we're good to go.
Did the program guarantee you a spot the year after through, or did they say, let's see how you pull up after surgery?
Yeah, nothing's guaranteed. But I was pretty lucky enough to have a great relationship with the people who run the program. And we just said, this is what we're going to work on first. Let's just work on finding out what surgery I need, what to do. We didn't think about the long picture. We just broke it down bit by bit. And then as things got closer and closer, and they said, what do you want? What's your mindset towards the program and continuing this? And I said, from day one, I'm going back. I got a taste of it. I got a sniff of it. I saw my name on the locker. I'm not done. I want to go back. And so from that point forward, day one, we're doing it. And yeah, they got surgery. We did all these tests afterwards. We're training and just lived in the treatment room. Lived in the gym, got my body right, and they were confident enough to work me out again and said, let's do it.
Was that an early taste on how much of a business this beast that they call the NFL is? Because I'm assuming they would think, righto, we've got this one spot for a free hit, someone that sits outside the salary cap, right? Mm-hmm. We want to get it right because, as we've seen, Mailata, these guys can pop off and actually hit it and become a player. Is that now removing yourself from it and it being a little while ago, can you see that side of it? Or were you I'm assuming at the stage you just like stuff these guys like this is effed up. Like I don't want to be here. How could they? They flow me over. Yep. But sitting here thinking, it's just like, oh my goodness, it's just like they can put these resources into a player that's a free hit that could potentially become a superstar.
Yeah, I think I'm not one to hate on anyone or like complain about what's happened, because when I started, it's the same thing. I can't sit here and ask why me, why this. I got released. I can't say it's cool. It happened. I got to move on, because if I sit there and dwell on it, it's just going to eat me up back home. And it did hurt for the first few weeks seeing the boys play and seeing them start winning, and they almost went to the Super Bowl too. And I was sitting there going, "This is crazy that I could have been there and whatnot." But yeah, no, it's all in due time, I guess.
So that takes us to year two, second time round.
Year two, yeah.
How do you approach that differently to the first time? You've obviously well educated in the space now. You know what to expect. Like, how do you approach that? Was it all the same program as well?
Yeah, same program. But the only difference between this year and last year was there was no more allocation process. You're either draft eligible or you're a free agent, and it's in the NFL's hands and the team's hands if they want you or not. So that was pretty exciting at the time, because there was, I think, 15 of us. All 15 can make it, or no one can make it. Like, that's the range. It can vary. And coming into it, as you said, my whole mindset had changed. I've been there before. I knew what it took. It was just a different approach for me. I wanted to be more of a leader on that camp, and I wanted to bring a lot of boys with me. And because that's all we have is that's us 10 blokes and the coaches. We become a family. We become so tight over there, and it's a great program, and I wouldn't change it for the world of how it's run and anything. So credit to everyone there. But yeah, the mindset of it all, and we're all working together. So if someone's not pulling their weight, that's going to affect someone else too. So we all want the best of each other. It's not like the NFL where we're all like fighting for a roster spot. We're all trying to get onto a roster, and by doing that, you all got to bring each other along. But yeah, no, it was a great year, that second year.
Well, I'm assuming now to be picked, it's great to know that they could have chosen not to pick anyone, and they've chosen to pick you, right? Because the first time around, it was like, oh, they get allocated, right? And they might put their hand up. So the clubs kind of need to take someone. They didn't need to take it this time around, am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. So every team gets an international spot, but they don't have to use it. So you can see, I think there's a few teams that don't have that international spot used. So for them to take that trust and belief in us and say, right, we want to use it on you, we want to develop you over a year and see how you go, it's pretty cool, pretty surreal.
And then, mate, following the progressions through the whole process, you were able to train with a few stars. I saw some training with OBJ there. How'd that come about, and what's he like?
So he was, I think this was when he hadn't been signed, he's come back from his injury. He was training at IMG, and my quarterback that was throwing for me at the time was throwing for him because they reached out, hey, we need a quarterback to throw to OBJ. And he went in there, put a word in, he said, hey, I got a tight end here who is mine if he comes along, just watches and whatnot. And he goes, you can train and whatnot, and come train with us and join. And that was a taste of, all right, this is the NFL. We walked in there, he had the full field to himself. He had his videographer, had the music pumping. His dad was there as well. We had his little boy, trainer, manager, everyone was set it up. And he was in the treatment room. His physio came through first. And then here he comes in his nice pimped out Lamborghini Urus. Comes out. As soon as he pulls up, the video start rolling, the music's blaring. And it's fun. Like, it's enjoyable. He's making it fun. He's making it enjoyable. And seeing that and seeing how culturally different that is to what it is over here in Australia I loved it. I love that sort of stuff. And that was a good little taste of.
Why is he making those videos? Is that just to show people that he's working out and make some clips up, show people that he's still got it?
He's still got it. Even if he didn't make those videos, he still got it. But it's also cool because I love like, getting film and whatnot. As long as it doesn't affect my training, it's cool to show everyone what it's like and the work. And obviously he's a big fan favorite of the NFL, so everyone would like to see his journey and see how he's training and whatnot. And then for me, it's a bit different. It's kind of, for me, I like showing the guys and girls back home in Australia what it's like in the NFL, because how often is a guy from Australia in the NFL going through this? And I know for us, when we were here, we loved watching the NFL, we loved watching the NBA. So now that you know someone in there and you can see it on his story, you can see it on his post, like this is the behind the scenes sort of action. And I just love showing everyone back home, because we're all a big family back here. And I think it's pretty cool to share the love and share the whole journey and story of everyone.
Oh, most certainly, mate. I touched on it before. I've actually had dreams like of doing what you're doing. Like, wake up, oh, that didn't happen. Like taking a punt on this exact dream, first person, where you're like, I'm actually in an NFL game, walking through the facility, catching passes from the people you're catching passes from, mate. It's completely off its head. Like, mate, you're doing so well. I want to touch on, so right, you're at the Jags, second time around. How does this call go? Is it similar to the Detroit process? Like, how's that go?
So this one was a bit different. It was pretty cool. I got a text saying, hey, this is blah, blah, blah from the Bengals. Would like to work you out. This is sick. I got to work out. I'm in Australia at this time, so I know that I got to get back over here at this time. And then after that, I get another text. Hey, blah, blah, blah from the Denver Broncos. We want to work you out too. When are you free?
Are you paying for these, or are they flying you over?
I get flown over, yeah.
Right.
Get flown over. And then after that, get another message. Hey, blah, blah, from the Jags. We want to work you out too. When are you free? So it's all starting to click. It's all starting to happen a bit more, and it's getting a bit real. And in my head, two boys had already had workouts, and they went to work out. They worked out, and they got offered a contract straight after. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, shit, am I going to get a contract at the end of this? Hopefully I just got to perform and just do what I need to do. And a lot of questions and emotions started rushing through my head. So we got our flights over, flew into Tampa. It was a wild week. Flew from Australia to America, landed in Tampa, 24 hours there, flew to Cincinnati, 24 hours there, did my workout there, flew from there straight to Denver, 24 hours, did my workout there, back to Jacksonville, a workout there for 24 hours, back home to Tampa, where I was staying for 24 hours, and I made my decision of where I wanted to go. And I chose the Jags as the place for me to be. 24 hours, flew out to Jacksonville, and I was starting 2 days later, walking to the facility, getting decked out in gear, and I'm on the field.
What comes into that decision? Because I'm assuming the pay and the contract structure are the same everywhere due to being in this program.
Yep.
So what goes into the decision? What have you weighed up here to pick Jacksonville?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things going to play when you're thinking about these things, and it's going to be different for you as it is to me. For me, it's I've grown up on the beach my whole life, so weather's important for me, and living wise. So I went there. Right, the weather's good. There's a beach nearby. This is awesome. It's going to be good for me to switch off when things get tough, and I think that's a big thing with sport, being able to switch on and switch off and mentally. And with the decision and everything, all right, what's their plan for me? How's their tight end coach? How's their GM? How's their head coach? All these little things. Like how do they treat you? What plans do they have in store? The opportunity that is presented. Who's there I can work with? And Evan Ingram's their number one tight end, and couldn't think of anyone better to learn off too. And he's been unreal while I've been there as well. So that's been pretty crazy. And it's just little factors like that come into play. And there's another lad there from Australia as well, Adam. He's been so helpful with it all. And I guess all these little things started tying in together. And the best thing about it is it's Florida. There's no state tax. So get a bit more coin in the pocket afterwards. So we're loving that.
Oh, fuck, you're a smart man. So walking into this facility for the first time, and you love your weights, you love the whole scene of it all. Like, is this like Disneyland, one of these big facilities that you walk into? Are you just like absolutely taken back by this? Because you've gone to Detroit, but you actually didn't do too much around the facility, right? Because you weren't there for too long. So what's it like actually getting in there? Is it pinch myself, or do you quickly have to snap out of that and be like, I've got to get to work. I'm here. Yeah. I'm actually a part of this.
I guess that euphoric feeling was when I was doing these workouts and trials of them. I kind of filmed everything. I was like, oh, this is sick, Mum. Look at this. Oh my God, that's Trevor Lawrence's locker. And came back in, saw my name on my locker, and my number was there. And that was kind of a bit of a pinch me moment. And I sat down, I looked up, and Gabe Davis is next to me. Oh, Trevor Lawrence is opposite me. Mac Jones is over there. Evan Ingram's just here. Whoa, these are big names that I had them on my fantasy team last year. We were sitting down at the club. These are names that we would sit down and watch when we're here at footy. And I guess we're building into the OTAs period. So OTAs, and it's optional for these players to come in. And that's the time where you can kind of enjoy being here, but also you're here to work. So you got to switch out of it really quickly. You have your little, okay, sick, welcome to the NFL. This is awesome. But you got to work. You got to earn your spot. You got to earn the trust. And the trust thing was the biggest thing for me. These guys are going to trust that this Aussie guy who's never played a down of football in his life, never been to an NFL game in his life, is now on a roster and he's playing and going to take one of our jobs. Like, why should we respect him? Why do we trust him? And so over this whole past 3 months, it's about me personally knowing my craft, knowing where to line up, what to do, and building that connection with everyone and that trust. All right, this Aussie knows his stuff. He's good. And don't get me wrong, I've made so many mistakes. Like, there was one where everyone went right, I went left, and I got run over by a tackle. Wasn't the best thing. Yeah. But you're going to make these mistakes. We've never played the sport before. But yeah, pretty surreal, and it's so professional, and all these boys helped me out with it all. So you got to go in there, you got to snap out of that. Oh my God, this is so sick.
And you've only been in there for a short time. You've already experienced with some of the guys around you with how cutthroat it is. Some similar things are going on around what happened to you the first time around with the Lions. It's
honestly crazy because with the sport here, you get signed, you're here for a year. You get injured, you're not going to get cut. Sat down, the guy next to me in my locker, I think the locker next to me has changed 3 times in 3 months. And again, I need to get a little business card and introduce myself now because it's crazy. People are just coming in and out, and there's new people coming through. People get cut from another team. Sweet, we'll sign you. Actually, no, we're going to cut you because he just got cut, and we're going to sign him to our team. It's a business, and it's all about just building that roster as good as you can, and it's cutthroat. You never know when your last day is.
Mate, you touched on Trevor Lawrence earlier. For those at home, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars star quarterback. He just signed a contract for $55 million a year, I think it was.
Something crazy like that, yeah. A nice little signing bonus too.
What's he like? Do they look after you? It seems like such an interesting dynamic where you're a team, but due to there being specific skill positions, that it's still quite an individualized sport.
Yeah, I think it's very, as you said, in your positions. Like you have O-line meetings, so offensive meetings, and then you break up into, all right, Titans here, quarterbacks here, receivers, blah, blah, blah. And then you go in the field and you do your thing. But afterwards, that's the only time when you're kind of in those groups. And I think you just go into the NFL, you just know that everyone in this room is your mate, but everyone in this room is trying to take your job. And it's so crazy as well because you got a guy in your room who has a family of 2 who's married and just bought a house. And you got a 21-year-old that's come out of college and that he's going to take food off this family's plate, which is so crazy because it's just how it is. And that's my brother. But I'm sorry, man. I want this. This is my job. I want to stay here longer than you. I wish you were the best, but I'm going to start on the weekend. It's just, that's the kind of mentality you have out there. And it is so crazy. So different to what it is like here.
So do you help each other? Like, how does that dynamic actually work? You were mentioning just before about some of the senior guys just trying to make sure they get the edge on some of the younger guys.
Yeah, I think we've got a really good bond and connection here where we are. Everyone's all about helping each other and getting us better because the ideal goal is to win a Super Bowl. We all want to win a ring. And with us at the Jags, we're a great unit. We're all about helping each other. So we ask questions, they'll happily explain it, and they'll walk us through. I know the quarterbacks take us rookies at the end of training. We walk through things that walk through some more drills. We walk through some more plays, and just so we can know it when we get out there, not make mistakes, because we're all striving for that one goal. But in the same time, in doing so, you're going to take someone's job, unfortunately. But I know that other teams, some vets will tell you the wrong thing, and they'll tell you something that's the wrong time, and they'll make you late on purpose. So it's a bad look on you, because at the end of the day, you're fighting for someone's job, and it's just cutthroat.
Through this whole process and now being ingrained in the facility, are there any things with knocking about with the guys that generally feel like this isn't real life?
Yeah, we us rookies. So we finished our preseason, or first half of our preseason, and the rookies stayed back for 2 weeks. And in the back end of that, Trevor put out a text saying, "Hey, you guys want to catch some balls one day?" So 2 days in a row, the quarterbacks came out and a few of the receivers, and us rookies rolled up there and we ran some routes and we were training with them. And that was pretty cool because the videographer was out there and we were just out there training. And Trevor's throwing, Max throwing, CJ's throwing. This is unreal. This is what you see on Instagram and something. And he texted us afterwards, "Hey, I'm going to book dinner for us. We all keen?" I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to dinner with these guys. This is sick." Go up there, we have dinner, and at the end of the day, we're all just humans. And we're all just out here. We want to enjoy our time together. It's a good connection, good bonding with us. And after that, we went out and we played pool. And it was a pretty cool moment where I was sitting there playing pool against these two randoms just from Jacksonville in a local bar. And I looked across, damn, my teammate is Trevor Lawrence in pool. When would this ever happen in my life? So it is so crazy, and you can tell word gets around that town pretty quickly because we walked in, there's about 50 people in the bar. As we left, you couldn't walk. The people everywhere. It was crazy.
What is the town of Jacksonville like? We haven't touched on that yet.
It's I think it's the biggest town in America. It's just spread out. The beach side's pretty cool. It's lovely waters there. Get a few shark teeth around the water. Great people, but because there's no Major League baseball, there's no Major League hockey, and there's no basketball, no NBA. The NFL, the Jags, is the biggest sport there is, but they have subdivisions there for the other sports. But Jags is the big one, so everyone just it's all about the Jags and all the teams. They love it. They love the players there, and they're also passionate about us as a team and wish us all the best.
With having a couple superstars on the roster that are that high in stature, you obviously had a great time out then around the pool hall and at the bar and stuff. Do they give you a lot of time, or do they spend time with the guys who at the minute are playing most of the snaps, because they've got to have a great relationship and synergy with them? Like,
yeah.
Do they give you a bit of time, the stars?
Yeah, they're amazing. I can't speak down on anyone. They all take their time out of their day to speak to us, and we sit down, we have breakfast, they'll come sit with us. Obviously, it's about building that synergy and everything, and that comes with going out in the field and working out. But, yeah, no, I can't say that they don't speak to us and hang out with us. We got a golfing simulator in our facility. Pretty cool. We've got a barber studio in our facility too. So we go play golf, and we'll all sit down together, we'll play golf together. And it's just those little things where you just chatting, you're just building connections and getting closer with each other without having it to be about football, if that makes sense.
There's some of the things I might request in here to chuck in the facility, mate. Get the full-time barber, chuck the golfing simulator in here.
Golfing simulator's unreal.
Oh, what are the days like? So you're obviously in pre-season at the minute.
Yeah.
What's a day look like?
What's a day look like? I got my phone out and show you.
You can show me, mate. Right. You can get the schedule out.
Yeah, so they're big days. And then training camp's going to get even more hectic.
They're two-a-days in training camp, right?
Used to be.
Used to be, not at the minute?
Yeah.
So they can't be? Is that a regulation or something?
I haven't looked forward at it. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to enjoy the
day by
break
day,
we
mate.
got. Yeah, and see how we go. But here we go. So a normal day when we were training. Oh, Jesus.
And I'm assuming you're not rocking in late to training now like you were here at the Suns?
No chance. No chance. I remember I missed a meeting here at the Suns one day and I got spoken to about it. But over there, you get fined thousands of dollars just to the club.
Speak us through that dynamic. And this is another thing about how outrageous it was that you were touching on before, the fella not wanting to do the push-ups. Talk me through like some of the hectic stuff some of these guys do.
Yeah, so it is pretty crazy over there. Like, it just shows how much money it is involved. And if you're late, you pay a fine. And some of these people don't even think twice about it. Like, hey, you missed gym, $1,500 fine, US dollars. Sweet. When do you need it by? Tomorrow, cash. Rock up, here's $1,500. It's just, it is crazy. So for us rookies who aren't on that big money, we make sure we don't miss anything. We're not late, but yeah, it happens. I remember I got fined heaps here for giving away penalties and whatnot on the field. So there's going to be, it's just inevitable. You just try, just be professional. That's the best thing you can do. If they say do something, do that and do more. But yeah, and then with our schedules, it's all, the time's changed, but 6 a.m. shuttle, we get leave the hotel, go to the facility, 6 a.m., breakfast, and then I'll go into the treatment room about 6:30 to 7:30, do treatment. And then us rookies will hit gym. We'll do gym for an hour, finish gym, straight into special teams meeting for about half an hour. Special teams meeting finishes, team meeting's done, go into offensive meeting. So O-line, D-line break in this big auditorium, which is probably as big as a lecture theatre is in a university here. Sitting in there for half an hour to an hour, finish that, go into our position meetings. Sitting there for an hour, hour and a half, finish that, and then you got an hour to have a quick little nibble before we go out in the field. And in that time you eat, you do your prehab stuff, your pre-training stuff, and then you go on the field, 10-minute warm-up beforehand, and then you're rolling. In for your big sesh, doing that, do some extras afterwards when the session's done. Recovery, lunch for an hour, meetings again for another hour, and then the vets will go. Us rookies stay behind, so we finish that hour meeting, half an hour break, another hour meeting of our position groups, go into a special teams meeting, then go into a rookie meeting for another hour, and then I'll hang around for another hour doing recovery stuff or whatever I need to do to get myself ready for tomorrow. Go home at 6. I'll eat dinner 6 to 7, and then the install's on the iPad. Sweet. Let's learn the install. I need to know it by tomorrow. Sitting there studying it for hours, some nights to 11, so I could just study 7 to 11, go to sleep, wake up 5:30, do it again.
Do they log your iPad hours? They can see that?
I'm not sure. I actually don't know, but mine will be up there. I'll tell you that. I'm never off it.
Mate, it doesn't seem like there's enough hours in the day from what you were just saying then. So
it's crazy, yeah.
Where are you staying? So you said shuttle. Is this like you're on a camp out of town or what's the go?
They book out rooms for us in the hotel. All the rookies can stay there. But once you feel comfortable, you can move out and whatnot. And also for the boys that get brought in last minute. So a lot of the people that come in from different teams, they will stay there for a few days while they find their feet. And they'll just shuttle us in, shuttle us out. It's pretty cool. And then training camp will come. Every player will be in a hotel. We'll all be in the rooms. So
you haven't done that yet?
No, that's what I go back into, yeah.
Oh, awesome. What's a playbook look like, mate? Like I've heard, but it just sounds like a whole nother language.
It's crazy. Yeah, I should have brought my iPad. But playbook, really, so for a tight end, we'll have the script. Well, not a script, but it'll just say what we have in the playbook for the install. And then we'll have the run plays. All right, sweet. Screens, outside zones, inside zones, whatever it is. So then we go into the pass, and we got short passes, like drop back passes, screen passes, and then we got red zones. So that's in there. The book's 20 to 30 pages maybe, and you're sitting there. And for me, the guy who's never played the sport, the best way to describe it is each night I go home, I learn a different language. I got to be able to speak it and understand it fluently by tomorrow. Nail that, new language. It's just new install every night. And so you go out there, you learn your install, go out, play it or do it on the field, sweep, review it, on to the next one. And you just new install every day.
So how many different sets do you reckon there were? You mentioned like screenplay, drop back pass, all those. Yeah. So is that about 9 to 12? And then how many different variations of each one of those players?
It's ridiculous. You got different concepts that fit in different play calls. You got different type of passes, and you got passes from under the gun. You got passes from that's not under the gun. You got your short and fives and whatnot.
How many do you reckon you need to know?
Everything. The more you know, the better. Because it just shows when you go out there, we're all a team, we're all trying to get better. So I know there's been players where you go out there, hey, I forgot what I have. What do you have? You got this. Appreciate it. Go. Same thing. You don't know it too, cool. Because I've been trained as a Y tight end. There's a play coach goes, you're the F for this play. You know what you're doing? Yep. And it just looks cool because then he goes,
he knows.
This guy knows his shit. And then another one as well. It's like, hey, you're going to be a receiver. You run out of the slot. You know what you're doing for this play? I'm like, yeah, this part of this concept. This concept is this. You know what you're doing? Let's run it. And it just shows like he knows his stuff rather than knowing just your position. And I made that mistake when I first went over there. I just learnt my position. And it came back to bite me in the ass because they go, all right, what's this concept? I don't know the concept, but I know what I have. So then I had to go back, relearn everything. And yeah, I think I've done really well with how I've gone with that.
You've always been good with that stuff though, I reckon, like being able to pick up certain things, like little niche skills. Did you play an instrument or pick up an instrument while you were here?
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I used to dabble in a lot of music when I was younger. But I'm one of those guys where if I don't know something, I'll either research it till I know it or I'll keep practicing it till I know it. So with these concepts, in a way, if I don't know it, I need to find out how can I relate this to something where I can remember it. And it's pretty easy. Like you go, all right, let's say dip. It's not part of our playbook or anything, but dip.
Or is it?
Yeah. Nah, so dip. The I means we're going in.
Yeah.
Just simple things like that where you can work it out and, all right, let's say we're running a go route. You could say it's like slow or something. The O means go. So just stuff like that where everyone has different ways of remembering things. And I guess with me playing music and just dabbling around all these little things, I find little niches that help me restore these information pretty well.
Have you made any stuff ups yet at training? Like, what's the go? Have you been shirt fronted yet? Is it contact? Are we in contact at the minute? Like, are you getting shit mixed? What's the go?
Mate, I've made so many mistakes, and it's inevitable. I've never played the sport, and we're always going to make mistakes. But the one thing I hate doing is making, as I said, I'm going to make mistakes, but I hate making a mistake and then everyone else misses a rep because of that. I have to start again, and it just looks bad. And I'm going to make a mistake. I've never played the sport, but I've just affected the whole team, the offense, the defense. We have to start again. And that's the thing I don't want to do. But with me, we do half-line drills with the O-line at the start. All right, we're going to work outside zone, blah, 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 hut. We all go to the right. I don't know what I was thinking. I went to the left, and there's a guy who's 6'8", 145 kilos, just bulldozed me, and I hit the deck. I went the wrong way. You know, it's such a quick sport. You got to think on your toes. You got to go the right way, otherwise someone's going to get hurt. I remember we were doing 7-on-7. I was so excited. All right, sweet. I'm in the slot. I'm going to catch the ball here. I can run a route. Got there, motioned across, looked across, and there was on a 2 cadence. So it means like set hut, ready, set hut. The first one he said set hut. I jumped and false started, and I sat there. I was like, shit. And all you hear is your coach yell at Pat, and you look across, and he's signaling to come off.
Well, he takes you off.
Yeah, a little walk of shame. You joke. Everyone, the whole D-line sitting over there. The coaches are all behind you. The offensive guys there, and you're just running about 40 yards across the field, and your next player, you just missed a rep.
Not even like run it again. You're on.
I'm off.
Off you get, mate.
Yeah, simple. And it happens to everyone as well. You false start, or you do the wrong rep, you're off. You missed a rep. And for guys who are fighting for a job, it's so important, these single reps, because
you may only get a couple.
Exactly. And I remember I made a mistake one session. I made a few. The next day I went in, I got one rep. And that's when I realized this is so crazy. If you muck up, they're not going to trust you the next day to put it in. And then you go in, all right, now you get 3 reps the next day. All right, you got it all right. You can have 6 reps. And then it starts going, all right, you got 3 reps in a row. You'll be all right. Yeah, I'm good to go. We went in there, huddle, correct, come off. And then he's just thinking, all right, this guy can bounce back from a mistake. He knows his stuff. And it's just crazy because these reps are so important. You miss it, you miss a rep, you miss a chance to prove how good you are. The next minute, your name's off the locker and you're unemployed.
What's it like? So you're running plays. How long does, like, let's say there's a scheduled part to run plays? Is that an hour? Is that 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool how it all works. We start off with our position groups, do a warm-up there, working out, individual period, go into a special teams period for a certain amount of time, and then we come out of that into a ball security drill, ball security into O-line. We work together at the half-line drill, whatever we need to work on, and then we go into our tight end group again, work through things that we're going to run, work on some top of the route stuff, some blocking, some footwork. Finish that, and then we run full script together, just O-line. Run it, know what you're doing. And this stage, it's all full speed. All right, sweet, next rep. Finish that, 7-on-7. Defense comes over, run it against them. Finish that, go to the red zone, run it against them. Awesome, that's done. Now we bring in the O-line. That's a full team run. Everyone's out there, same thing. Work run game first, work pass game next. Red zone, finish, special teams again. And then after that, back to your individual period with your tight ends, and that's the session.
So if you don't get any snaps, so like let's say you've stuffed up and you've had that 1 rep day,
Yep.
You're just standing there watching for
You're
hours.
just sitting there getting cold, and it's up to you to keep yourself warm, because you never know when you're going to get caught out there. You're just sitting there, and for us as the tight ends, we have signals. All right, like this is someone, that's someone else. So you just wait until you see a signal and you just go. So you got to keep yourself warm, but you just stand on that sideline. You're just making sure you're always watching as well, because if someone makes a mistake or someone does something really good, you need to learn off that, because it's pretty bad if someone makes a mistake and then you go out there 3 reps later and you do the exact same thing, and he goes, well, mate, this guy just doesn't learn.
What's the dynamic like between the offense and the defense? Because as you mentioned, there's still 2 teams within the whole team.
It's a war out there, really. You don't want to lose. We're all competing. So if you get beaten, it's a win to him, and makes you look like shit. And if you look bad, that's looking bad on you. You're going to get the cut. And so no one wants to lose, really. And I know in training camp I've heard stories that things start to get heated and real fiery, butt heads and whatnot. But it's just what it takes to be in that league. It's so competitive. It's so fierce. And I know there's a lot of little shit talk going on over there. And before training, I know I said to one of the boys, hey, I'm going to score a touchdown on you. 7-on-7. You will never score a touchdown on me, ever. Went out there and ran a nice little route. Got a TD on him.
Got one on him?
Got one on him, yeah. I let him know about it too.
Let's go, yeah.
Let him know about it, but it's just all that. It's pretty cool. A lot of banter, a lot of shit talking, but it's so competitive. And I guess if you haven't got that dog in you or that competitiveness, then you're going to get eaten up and real bad.
So far, how have you been going in your own self-reflection? Like, how's the training been? You keeping up?
Yeah, I think all of us as athletes, we're really harsh on ourselves. I'm harsh on myself as well. And I like to compare myself to everyone in the room. And I think I got to dial it down and know where I stand as a player compared to these guys who've been playing since they're 6 years old. And I went into the GM's office. I just said, hey, just be honest with me. How am I going? Where am I sitting? And got some good feedback. And I think that was a good time for me to sit back and go, all right, I didn't even know anything at the start of the year. Now I'm here. I've got a few touchdowns and made a good block here and there. Yeah, I got sat my ass a few times, but I'm learning. I'm getting better. The biggest thing for me that I like about how I've learned is that I've gotten better at retaining knowledge and moving forward. And now I'm at the point where I can go out there and be like, hey, we got this, you got that. And it's pretty cool. And yeah, we'll get things wrong here and there, but I'm feeling more confident in myself and my abilities. And that's going to be the best thing, because I can play off instincts. And when we play off instincts, that's when you perform to your best.
Man, that leads to my next question. What are your goals for the upcoming season?
I think, well, for me, you want to be on the field. You want to run out there in front of 100,000 people and play the sport, score a touchdown and whatnot. As a team, we want to play the Super Bowl, but for me personally, it's about just getting better at my craft, getting better than the day before. It's so important. As long as I'm me as a development player, and this whole year, they're going to be analysing me so intensely. As long as I'm keeping on that good trajectory and getting better, it's all about having that next opportunity. And when I get that opportunity, he's taking it. And so I need to work on my routine. I need to get a good routine. Now that we're going to a training camp, my routine's going to change. Day's going to change. Everything's going to change. All right, so that's going to be my new goal. So I haven't really got a long-term goal. I've kind of got sectional goals that will accumulate and build up to that goal of me playing in the NFL.
And for people who aren't familiar with the sport, right, you actually might get on the field and they might draw up a play, but your position is no chance of touching the ball, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's just the sacrificial lamb, really, sometimes. But it all works. We're a team. We work together. And it's so important, too, because if you know that you're not getting the ball and you go out there and you're like, I'm not getting the ball, I'm going to run, not even do this route, then that defender bites on the other guy, picks, intercepted, incomplete. So every rep, 100%, no matter what. So it's pretty crazy.
Still got to play a part, right, and make him
100%.
Like convince him that
you never know how it all might work, because the guy who gets the ball might slip, or that defender did something wrong and bites, and now all of a sudden you're free. And shit, all right, here comes the ball, touchdown.
So good, mate. That's all I've got for you. I really appreciate your time. It sounds like you're doing amazing, and as I said, a lot of us here wish we were in your seat, mate, doing what you're doing. I'm unsure that you might have thought that we'd say that, but
it's
mate,
crazy.
It's
crazy how the
unbelievable.
world works,
You're living a dream, mate. And it seems like you're doing really well. So I really appreciate your time.
No, I really appreciate it. No, thank you.
Good work, mate. Well done, bro.
Good work. That was unreal.
It's good.